Okay, so this video is a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about the cost of owning a car. Because, everybody likes to give me their advice about how I need to buy a car and all this stuff. And yeah, everyone seems so sure that I need a car. And oh boy, do I want to avoid ever having to have a car, which is what's so weird about it. And I decided to look up what the cost of owning a car is. Of course, it's going to be different for everybody, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this link that I found. What is the total cost of owning a car? For vehicles driven 15,000 miles a year, average ownership costs added up to about $8,469 per year in 2017. And it has a calculator and stuff like that. But my first thought is first of all, who drives 15,000 miles a year? I've been okay, that's a lot. I mean, I try to imagine that. Let's suppose that somebody drove 10 miles a day. If I had a car and I knew how to drive, and I drove 10 miles every day, and there's 365 days in a year. Then that's still only 3,000. Oh, that would be 3,650. That's almost a fifth of that amount. Come on, who would be driving more than 10 miles a day? Yeah, it depends on how far someone is driving to work. See, I'm the smart one that moved to the closest apartment I could to my job, so I'm only 3 miles away, so I would only be driving 6 miles a day if I drove 3 miles each way. So that's where my thoughts come in on that. And I'm this is crazy. The average monthly payment on a new car was $523 in the first quarter of 2018. Seriously, this is huge money. This is just outrageously expensive. I look at this and I'm wait, over $8,000 a year, over $500 a month? Are you kidding me? If I had that kind of extra money, and I saved $500 a month, seriously, okay, let's say that I saved $500 a month. Yeah, okay. If I saved $500 a month, then, yeah, 5 times, yeah, 500 times 12, yeah, that would be $6,000 a year, okay? So, yeah, I would rather save that money if possible. Now, I've been reviewing the cost of my Uber rides. I usually I can use Uber or Lyft, but I've been using Uber more frequently, just partly because of the fact that it lets you add money to your balance ahead of time, so that you've prepaid and you have a certain amount of balance. I find that to be convenient, but really I'll use whatever's the cheapest at the time. So now, today I got a ride to work for about $4.80, just under $5, which is not bad because I live a lot closer to work than I used to when I lived with my mom. So yeah, so that's good because it's getting too cold to be out there biking, because it's cold during the day, but it's really cold at night. And when I first moved and didn't have my bike yet, I was walking to work and walking back, and it took me about an hour and a half to walk. Cause it's kind of strange. Yeah, it's a long walk, and especially when I'm tired after work. And then I biked about every day, and it takes me about half an hour biking. But finally, it got to be where I was freezing so bad that I want to avoid that now. So the thing is, I'm using Uber to get to work sometimes when I don't feel like biking. But when I think about it, I need to consider the cost of this. Now, let's say, for example, let's just say, for the sake of example, that today I got a ride home from a coworker. But let's say that it cost me $7.50. Okay, let's say if it cost me $7.50 each ride, which would probably be what the cost would typically be without the 30% discount in effect. So let's say it cost me $15 a day. Okay, that's only Monday through Friday. So so let's say that it cost me $75 per week, 4 weeks a month. So 4 times 75, that's $300. So that's true. That would cost me $300 to get rides to and from work at that cost of $15 times 5 days times 4 weeks. So $300. But here's the thing: is that's only in the winter, because in the summer months, biking is pleasant. Walking and biking are pleasant, and I enjoy it in warm weather. So that's the thing: is right now it's winter, but spring and summer, I would walk or bike typically. I wouldn't have to spend that money. But even so, that's still less than the $500 on a car payment each month, which does not include the gas, the taxes, the insurance, the repairs, all of these costs that go into cars. And I hear my coworkers complain about all the cost of their cars, and yet some of these people still think they're qualified to tell me that I need to buy a car. And people love to give their advice, but this is crazy. I'm like, man, I really want to avoid this. I want to avoid having a car because the expenses are ridiculous. Plus, I don't know how to drive, and I don't want to drive. And see, now here's the thing to understand. Now, some things are expensive. Okay, buying a car. Or leasing a car is expensive. Buying a house or renting my apartment. Of course, renting an apartment is expensive, like I'm doing, but it's unavoidable. I have to have a place to live, obviously, because I can't be homeless living out in below freezing weather. So yes, having a place to live is unavoidable, but having a car is avoidable. And so think about it. Even if I did spend $15 a day on rides to work during winter months, I still am making more money than that in just 2 hours worth of work at my pay rate. So when I think about it, I'm still gaining money faster than I'm spending on rides. Though that wasn't the case when I was with my mom when I was 8 miles away from work. That was more expensive. In fact, I'll tell you what costs more is visiting my mom on Sundays, because it'll cost me about $15 each way, spending $30 to go out to Lee Summit to visit my mom. So that's the thing, is that's actually more expensive. I actually don't want to do that every single week. It's just that my mom's needy and she needs so much help. Uh, but but even so, even though I have the cost of Uber rides and stuff, there is also I'm still probably saving money because even though from my calculations so far it's still less than 500. But the thing is, if I don't have a car, I don't have to worry about parking it. I don't have to pay property tax. I don't have to have car insurance. I don't have to pay extra taxes. Like, I'm still saving money. Like, seriously, it's still cheaper to be a person like me who gets the closest apartment that is available to work and then walks and bikes sometimes. Plus, I occasionally get rides from coworkers, which helps. But even if I pay them like $2 or $3 for taking me home, which I would gladly do, that's still spending less money on Uber rides. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, it would be nice to be able to travel further distances, but that's one of those kinds of things that I would only do when I had vacation. And my vacation hours build very slowly. So if I wanted to take a vacation, first of all, I probably wouldn't travel. I would probably just stay at home and do stuff I wanted to do. Maybe walk around Independence. Take a vacation in the summer, walk and bike around Independence and go where I feel like, Or get on a train. If I really want to travel somewhere, get on a train or a bus system or something like that to travel if I need to go to another city. But, because I travel very sparingly, and the only places I travel are my job, to help my mom out, and to go shopping for what I need. So a lot of times I can walk or bike when the weather's not too bad. So yeah, I have about 3 months of harsh winter to get through. But after that, and the weather starts warming up, then it'll be enjoyable to bike again. So when you consider the cost of a year of owning a car versus living the way I do and only 1/4 of the year having to spend money on rides to and from work because it's too cold to bike and walk, I haven't figured out all the math, but other people are probably paying $8,000 to $9,000 in a year for all the cost of owning their car, maybe more when you consider all the expenses. And then I probably will only spend $2,000 to $3,000 on all the costs of my Uber rides and stuff like that. So I'm still spending less money than most people. And imagine how much money I would have saved if I had been able to get into an even closer apartment to work. If it was the same rent. Yeah, my rent is expensive. $750 a month, but it includes access to the laundromat and it's a nice place to live. I'm glad to have my own place. So I'm being financially smart, and all my bills are paid currently, except that my next gas bill, I think, will be I'll see that on November 20th. And then there's my monthly Dr. Voss payment, which is actually my dance teacher's doctor. That she's a really nice doctor, but she doesn't accept any kind of insurance herself. Instead, there's like a monthly payment plan. But that's another thing so I'm saving money by only occasionally paying money for rides without the full cost of having a car. And any money that I save is going to be used towards my medical needs and building up an emergency and medical savings, So the thing is, I'm being financially smart about this, and I'm doing the math and I'm figuring this all out. and I'm getting my bills and my rent paid on time. So I'm actually doing really good. I'm doing better now financially than I ever have, and I owe it all to my amazing job. And work has actually been going really well lately. And so, I was actually depressed for a while about work because I didn't do too well on my most recent review because I'm still too slow at the migrating that they trained me on. But recently I was recognized. I got like the star award for perseverance, and my supervisor gave me a little bit of a compliment among some other people, and the thing is, yeah, I keep working at it, and even though I'm not quite where I need to be at work with all my tasks, if I just keep working hard at what I'm doing, I'll improve even more. I'll get good at all the different tasks they train me on. I'm already amazing at shelving. I got 124%, if I remember correctly, on my shelving quota. So I'm doing great. And so it's all about working my job, trying to manage my money very smartly, and living my life in my own apartment, and making sure I have the food and other things I need. So I'm actually very happy right now. You know what I mean? I'm doing well, and so it's finally the weekend, and I have a lot going on, but I just think it's very interesting because when I look at the math of it, I'm still spending less money than people who own a car. And then also there's the fact that because I don't date people, I don't have sex, and therefore will not reproduce, and that's even more expensive. People having kids and their dating relationships, and you know how these men, they buy their wives and girlfriends all these dead flowers on Valentine's Day and anniversaries, and it's like people waste so much money on their relationships, on their cars, on like all sorts of things. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I'm making pretty good money at my job, and I am pretty good at math, and I think that I'm managing what I have fairly well. So I'm happy about that, and I guess that's really all I have to say for now. So basically, that's just what's going on with me and my finances and all that. But, I gotta tell you, although some people mean well, I'm still really annoyed at everyone who keeps telling me that I need to get a car. It's just like the people who tell me I should eat meat, that I should have sex, that I should believe in God and be a Christian, and all these things. Everybody just wants to tell you what to do. People, I guess, they're trying to distract themselves from the fact that they can't manage their own life. So they think that they'll feel better if they boss me around on how to live my life. And just stop it. Please. I'm doing fine.